Okay, stock market technical analysis. Drop me a thumbs up. Check out the private member group. Link in the description below. Let's dive into it. The main chart that I've been looking at really to give us indication of where the market's heading is this Nvidia stock because it's so heavily weighted in the tech sector and generally in the S&P 500. However, we've got a support line to watch right here on the daily chart. So it goes all the way back to October of 2022. And as I roll up, you can see there's support. There's another reaction. We broke, all right? So that support was actually broken. We had a daily close 2 days ago, all right? There was the breakdown. So that actually is by technical, by a technicality in terms of looking at the charts, a sell signal. We broke support on a daily close. Now, yesterday, they popped this thing back up and closed it back above support. And then today we're back below. So we're kind of chopping around a little bit. It's holiday trading, low volume. So in general, there is going to be a lot of whipsaws and chop. So we do need to kind of, I need to see a definitive sell signal, more selling basically. Today looks like we're going to probably close back below that trend line. But I need to see a red day. From here, I need to see, okay, the sellers really identify that support has been broken and I need to see selling. There is also some support right here at about 131.65. Several reactions there to validate that. And so if you want to be conservative and really wait for a break of that, then, that would clearly mean that the trend has been broken. As of right now, it's just really close to the trend line. They could easily recover it. This could just be a couple day breakdown. So not clean enough for kind of an all-in short for sure. You could take a starter short. I just be prepared to stop out if it recovers it. Yesterday I stopped out, took the short as it broke here, stopped out on the daily close as it recovered it. And so we're just chopping around a little bit. Need to see a little more proof on that one. Triple Qs at resistance. Yesterday they ramped it up into, closed it slightly above, but again, gap down this morning and basically at resistance. So if I roll out, you can see we have the bearish rising wedge. We're just at the top of the wedge. We continue to extend this bearish rising wedge. This should play out to the downside, and the widest part of the wedge at this point is all the way down here, which means depending on when we get a breakdown, we are looking to push down to, 462, or it depends on when we get the breakdown because this major target will move. In general, though, I'd look for a move down to the 200-day moving average. You can see it way down here. That would be a very high probability target given the measured move of the wedge. Of course, this doesn't play out until you get a break of that wedge. You need to break support. So we've got a little ways to go to the downside just to break that support. Apple looks like a short-term trade setup. I did point that out earlier this morning to the private member group. You can see on the daily chart here, we've got an uptrend line. So there's really no clues there on the daily chart that we're going to break. But if you go down to the hourly, and that's why I say it's a shorter-term trade setup. Here's the hourly. You can see support, support, support. There's another reaction. And we're basically just sitting right on support now. We do have negative divergence that started to build on the hourly. So you need, the sell signal will come on a break of the trend line. Okay. And once you get that hourly close and that break, then the measured target is probably these breakout highs down here about 237. Okay. I see a move down to about there. Buyers should be stepping in there most likely. But, depending on when we get the sell signal, that would be, if it comes anytime soon, then we're looking at about a 4.5% drop down to that support level. GE, this is a trade I pointed out. I pointed it out in the private member group the other day when we started to break down from support right in there at roughly 175. This trade is just started. Okay, you have a big uptrend line, a bearish rising wedge. Widest part of the wedge is really, I consider the widest part of the wedge right about here, really. And the major target for that, you take it at the point of the breakdown, sets us up for a push down to about 135-ish. Right in there is the kind of the final target for this move. So it's, we're about 25% of the way there. And, we've got to, it still needs to drop to the full major target about 20%. But we're hitting the 200-day moving average today. Looks like we're going to close right on it. So you're probably going to get a bounce at the 200. You don't always get a bounce. Sometimes it slices right through. But usually that's only going to happen if we see the S&P 500 and the triple Q start to drop too. If those start dropping impulsively, then this will likely slice right through the 200-day. Otherwise, if we kind of hold up on the S&P and the triple Qs, you're likely going to get a bounce. So as of right now, because I'm not seeing the triple Qs really sell off impulsively, I'm expecting a bounce here. Probably maybe back up to resistance, some sort of a little bounce. So your next sell signal, your next objective short is either A, you take out the 200, you break down, or rally into resistance. It's not objective to be short right here. So I closed out my short on that one, took the profit. Costco, the hourly chart, we actually have a sell signal. So you've got support, you've got this bearish rising wedge pattern, and it's actually broken down. The only problem that I see with that is we've got earnings today after the bell. So I don't like that breakdown on the earnings. I'm not taking it. I prefer to wait to earnings. If they pop this thing tomorrow after earnings, maybe they pop it up here and then look for the sellers to come in and for this to break down. That's one potential move. It could, of course, just gap down on earnings. It is a sell signal. It's a break of support. It's just happening right before earnings, so I always am suspicious of that. So I'm not going to be taking that, but we'll see how that plays out after earnings comes out. And FITB broke down yesterday. We had a sell signal on that one. That's your banking stock. You've got bearish rising wedge, negative divergence, everything that tells me that we're going to have a trend reversal. Widest part of the wedge, it would be your measured target. So that is basically here. Okay, so you take the widest part of the wedge, a little wider there, and then take it at the point of the breakdown, and that will give you your measured target. I've got it marked in this blue line here. All right, that's my measured target for this trade, which is a push down to about 34.50. And that would be, from where we're at, a drop of about 24%, from basically from current levels. From the actual sell signal, if you took it yesterday, 26%. So that is the target on that one. I like it. It's a very good actionable trade that has triggered. Natural gas had a nice little rally over the last few days. I did point that out in the private member group today, saying we were hitting the 200-day moving average, and I'd expect a pullback. So if you were long, you'd want to basically close out your longs and then wait for a break above the 200 for the next buy signal. Because if I rolled back and looked, we have a trend line to watch on. This is UNG. It's a ETF. But if you look, they're selling the 200-day. They've been doing that for a while. There's a sell of the 200. There's another one. 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 And we're at the 200. So at that moment in time, there really was no reason to expect anything different. And it was preferable just to wait for a breakout of the 200. So, take profit on a long, cycle back in on a pullback is what I'd be looking to do. Another trade set, well, really an actionable trade, Philip Morris. It's not going to be a huge mover because it's a big dividend payer, but look, you got support, 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 and a break of support yesterday. That's a sell signal. You also had big negative divergence on that one that was building. So you have a sell signal. This is a bearish rising wedge. The widest part of the wedge is about here. Okay, so that would be a measured target down to I'd call it down to the 200-day moving average. On that's what it looks like. It looks like a pullback down to the 200. That's if you want to go long, that would be an objective area to go long. As of right now, it's a short, so we'll be looking for a drop from right now, from current levels, roughly 13%. Down to the 200-day. All right. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Get the video out. We'll see how Costco earnings comes out. And yeah, drop me a thumbs up. See you guys later.